How's it going? My name's Jeff, and this is my channel I've just created called The Law of Non-Resistance. And non-resistance is all about letting things go and concentrating on the positive rather than resisting the negative, because what you resist persists, which is an absolute truth. And this lady here has got a terrific video. It's called The Principle of Non-Resistance, the End of Suffering. So yeah, the theory is that all resistance creates suffering. And very true when you really understand this principle. It doesn't mean you become a doormat or anything like that. You know, you're getting suppression like what's happening in Victoria, etc., and say, oh, I'm just not going to resist, I'm going to be totally obedient and let them walk over me and all that. What it means is you just, as she explains in her video here, you just basically look at things and there's no judgment on that thing. It's just like, okay, so this is what it is. There's no emotion attached to it, just like this is what it is. So now let's respond. And there's another guy called Bob Proctor who was in The Cigarette. There's another video that he's done about the law of non-resistance, and he says just let it go, let things go, don't resist, but create what you want. So right now, for example, people are pretty much enslaved in Victoria, for example, especially Melbourne and other parts of the world. And basically the thing to do is to not resist, but create the way that you want. You know, you want freedom, so you've got to create things that are going to make you free, rather than sitting back and saying, well, look at these, these nasty politicians and police, look what they're doing to us. There's scumbags and all this, right? Which is all you see in these video comment sections, and you see all these guys protesting and screaming at the cops and all this. It just doesn't do anything by putting your attention on resisting. You got to put your attention on what you want to create, not put your attention on things to resist, because you're just going to get more of it. It's like being in quicksand. You know, if you're in the quicksand, you're resisting and you start sinking more. So the thing to do is calmly look around, find if you can grab a branch or yell out to people, see if anyone's around, to take some proactive measures to basically become free. Now, a classic thing I saw last night was a protest in London, and the first one I saw was about a month ago, and yeah, it was a really good protest with David Icke and all these guys spoke, and this time had a guy who was just screaming abuse about the police, how evil they were, at the top of his lungs last night, this live stream. And at the end of it, the police became very, very heavy, and they were pushing the crowd around and all this. So that's to me is the exact thing there. You're concentrating on resisting, it just gets more resistance. It just doesn't work. And another example of the opposite spectrum is I won't say where I am, but the city where I am, about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, I think, we had a protest about our brothers and sisters in Victoria. Whoops, I told you I'm no professional here when it comes to YouTube. So I'm just pointing a camera at the video screen, right? So I'm no expert or technically minded guy. I just want to help people. But anyway, at our sort of rally, I'd call it, rather than a protest, we had 4 or 5 speakers there, and there was cops sort of around the place there watching everything. And everyone was happy or upbeat. There was no hatred. It was just stating facts and all this. We had a lady from Melbourne come on and tell her harrowing story about her parents who are stuck there and she can't get to see them and they're old and all this. And basically, it was just really nice. And then we marched to our Parliament House, and there was more speakers there. And one of the speakers did at the end, they said, "Look, we want to just thank you, police. You've been fantastic. You've been great. We really appreciate your presence there." and everyone, there was about 1,000 people, everyone just turned around and clapped the police, and it was just fantastic, and the police sort of loved it. You could see the smiles, and when we dispersed, there was people patting the police on the back and all this, and it was great, and there was no problems whatsoever, nothing at all. It was a really happy sort of rally or protest, if you want to call it a protest. I can't really call it a protest. That's sort of like resistance when you talk about protests. It was just a rally, a meeting, you could say, and a march, right? So another example is I remember when I was a kid, I used to always resist these other kids. You know, this is in primary school, decades ago, and I'd get beaten up. Back then, you know, it was only like dead legs and all that, not punches in the face. You know, this is in primary school, but all I had to do is not hang around with these kids, right? But they beat me up, and I thought, I'm going to get them back each time, and I just kept getting beaten up. So yeah, just let it go. Concentrate on what you can do that's positive. You know, like create a YouTube channel, create a website, create a vlog, get posters out, put them up everywhere, markets, telegraph poles, you know, promoting some sort of positive quote or something like that. Yeah, and I've got my own quote here. Actually, my own flyer that I've created, but just going to open the blinds. As I said, I'm no professional. It's all off the cuff here. And it's called Quotes to Set You Free, and I've printed up 20,000 of these. I've put 11,000 out so far, but it's got quotes like, those who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Now that's from Benjamin Franklin. Security is mostly a superstition. Avoiding dangers no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is a daring adventure or nothing, from Helen Keller. If truth doesn't set you free, generosity of spirit will. Katerina Klima. So these are the sort of quotes. Pessimism leads to weakness. Optimism to power. William James. So this is 2 pages there. It's the back pages here, and I put in YouTube channels that I like You Are Creators and the Spiritual Library, all about freedom. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I guarantee you, if the Victorians, the people in Melbourne, if only 1,000 people put 1,000 out of these, right, it would, in no time, it would be free. It would just be free, because the freedom spirit would be so strong that people would say, that's enough. You know, all these quotes would transform the collective consciousness of the people of Melbourne. It would just end straight away, basically. And that's how it works. You get the majority, you know, the collective consciousness. That's how things change, by basically putting out stuff en masse like that. So anyway, that's what I say is... Anyway, it's just my thing, is this law of non-resistance. I've been studying this for quite a long time. There's a great book. It's called, I'll just grab it. It's called Working with the Law by Raymond Hollywell. This is sensational. It's got 11 laws, natural laws, and I really recommend that. And Bob Proctor, the famous guy from the cigarette, he's done a lot of videos based on this guy, this Raymond Hollywell guy. So I really recommend that book. But I'll leave this lady's link in the description. And if you want to subscribe, that'd be great. Like I said, I'm no professional. I'm just doing this because I want to change conditions. You know, I want to see the Victorian people become free. And I don't want to see it spreading the rest of Australia and the rest of the world, because obviously, you know, I was watching a video from Tom Barnett today, and he's basically saying, you know, this is like a testing ground. Victoria's like a testing ground for the rest of the world. So let's knock it on the head, guys. Let's concentrate on freedom rather than resisting the negative. So thank you, and please subscribe if you want.